Welcome back, Loadstar fans across the world, and we are obviously back with some Loadstar action. Now let me just say, it was quite the trick to get this thing flipped around out there and backed in here. I got her backed in because we're working on the big old booty.
That's a big old booty.
That's right. Now back here, we've got some heavy fabbing to do. We've got a hitch to figure out. We may bob a little frame just a hair and add something. All because the goal is to end up with a flatbed that can tilt. So we got to get us a pivot point kind of back here. As you can see, the trailer is not empty. We've got some 2x6, some 2x4, some 3-inch. Yeah, 3-inch by 3-inch, 3/8 thick angle iron. We've got some 2.5-inch square tubing. It's good thick stuff too. Some of that, not all of that's gonna end up on here as a flatbed. I've kind of got it figured out. I kind of don't really have it figured out, okay? Let me just be honest. I've got an idea in my head, and all things start from a simple idea in someone's head. So getting straight into it, before I put a big bed back here, I want to have a hitch back here. Now let me say, because of the amount of overhang I wish to accomplish for a flatbed, I don't even know we'll be able to tow a normal gooseneck with it. It may become a point where we have to get a gooseneck trailer and modify it ourselves. I don't know. The math don't always quite math. I did get the angle iron for the gooseneck ball receiver thingy. Gooseneck ball receiver thingy, come on down. You're the next guest on the puddins.fab.shop. It's a good thing I found the nice skinny one. So I decided to buy one of the folding ones. So it does a little flip tuck. We've all been there, boys. The problem with old flip tuck here is the width needed. So I'm gonna measure where those gussets are. Probably need about 7 inches to be able to clear those. So we could turn our angle iron that way. Maybe we can, probably not that away, to be able to have room for hardware. These come with a carriage bolt with a big old flange nut. So, well, maybe that away. What I'm doing right now is putting that in there, and we're gonna measure from over here, this outside edge, to that flange. And we got right at 1 inch in between there. So yeah, we can turn our angle iron with that lip in. That's good news. So we'll measure again from there to there. I think for a little leeway, we could call it 7. 6 3/4, probably a little more precise. 7 inches. Now, I've never installed anything to do with fifth wheel, towing, gooseneck, hitching, any of that type of stuff. But I do know for the most part, we pretty well want to be over our rear axle. I have even heard 1 inch forward, and just kind of eyeballing it here. I am gonna look and say right in there is right at the center, pretty dang close. So if we did go a hair forward, we'd basically, this hole right here, probably be about 1/4 inch behind it. So we want that to be our center. And that is 42 3/8. So we come over here, 42 3/8, center. Now let's see, if we set 3 inch there, we can tell that's gonna overhang by about 1/2 inch. So if we go from center there out to there, 6 inches, add half, 6.5 inch. So here's where I'm realizing we're gonna have a little bit of a problem. Center, let's go to 6.5. Well, here's the problem. You see that mark? Here's what it's for. Don't forget your pesky old fuel tank. So it sat in there. You can see where it sat on the cross member. If we go from the center of that out, I was saying 11 inches. I think 10.5 may get us there. It's gonna be close. So we set that on the center of our cross member, because that's where that thing tucks into. And we come back. See, I said 10.5 would get us there. Got too many marks going on now. I don't know what's what. 10.5, come this way, 6.5. So either way, that is gonna be over if we just put angle iron right up to here, and it would be hitting that fuel tank. Well, possibly. I guess that depends on how much. Oh no, it'll definitely pull it up into there. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Well, I want to verify our center mark, And I did that just by kind of putting a speed square there and pointing down. And we're pretty stinking center. I was hoping we were going to be further forward where we could come back here. So check this out. If we do go from our center mark forward 6 inches, I think we're basically going to be right at where the tank is. Here's the deal. A lot of cross members and hitch setups and stuff even only use 2.5 inch angle iron, and I have 3. So what I just factored for was that 1/2 inch of overhang we are going to have over on that side, just where the tank is. We may have to notch just that one little lip of the angle iron, but with how we plan on setting the angle iron on here, that shouldn't really be a big deal. Uh-oh. Theo likes that idea. Hey, Ma! Theo's got the zoomies. So now our next thing to look at is that stinking shock. Oh yeah, it seems real easy. We'll just throw a hitch on real quick. Oh no. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm trying to do this in a way where nothing's taller than these rivets. So nothing's sitting on top of here. We've got to kind of be below to keep everything low profile. Makes it a little more difficult. 6.5. Oh no, we're good. We got plenty to clear that shock. All right, well, I think the thing to do is going to be to just cut our first piece, which is going to be real simple. It's going to go inside here to inside here. The post up here, we've got some boxed frame to consider. All right, looks like maybe 41 3/8 would do us. Now we're going to be using our table a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and get the old sheet metal brake out the way. So we can start kicking some butt. Don't go buy a bunch of metal unless you want to have a damn heart attack. Buying metal's not good for blood pressure. My weapon of choice, our old chop saw. And one issue I always have when I need to cut like larger sticks, which these are large sticks, is a way to adjust. Oh yeah, they designed these to be cut up. Look at that quick pin release and everything. No pesky measuring needed. Like we may be cutting this too. Yep. So we'll just cut this off, say right in there. Just plain. The way I just said we'll cut that right in there did not make sense. We unpin that, and I measure from the bottom up 31 inches on the dot. So we want it 31 inches tall. But we need this top lip that the bearing rides on, so we actually need to go from there down to 31 inches. Oh, I was like, that don't fit for crap. That's because that's a smaller size down there, come to find out. Luckily for me, I've got a welder that don't give a damn if that slips in there or not. Woo! Dang! Eagle Eye's calibrated for the day, folks. That thing's more straight up and down than, well, never mind. Never mind. I was not so very smart man's. Knowing good and well that it couldn't slip down in there. Did I cut off any additional so it was lower than our table again? No, I did not. Here at Puddins Fab Shop, we do it nice because we do it twice. There we go. Sliced a little more off of that and redid it. Now this sits just below level of that. Of course, that's elevated higher. I should have bought something that does that. I know they sell them with like rollers and stuff. I never remember. We have these on hand. These are cheap off the Amazon. We'll make it work. I'm not distracted. You guys are distracted. I don't even remember what our measurement's supposed to be for that angle iron. Oh yes, 41 and some change. Well, that's super light. Now, luckily that does have the swivel head. Makes it swiveling really easy, as you see. I weighing 1,001 pounds had nothing to do with that success. Yes, it would have been easier to just cut that on the trailer with a grinder. But I'm committed. 41 and some change. And I know this was unnecessary, but I wanted to do this piece to get a feel for this and how well it would work. We're lined up over there. We just got to get her leveled up. Obviously, this having a little lift built into it makes it nice and easy. Nice thin 3/8 angle iron, 3 inches. Let's see if this old girl's got in her. Might as well be slicing butter. All right, from the center out, I said we need 7 inches. So 3.5 one way. So I'm gonna find center right there. Then we go 1, 2, 3, and 1/2 inch. So our back edge needs to land. Oh yeah. I think she'll tap into place. We just need to get her prepped up so if we get it in place, we can tack it. Gonna go ahead and clean up, knowing we may add some other supports in there. Clean her up. Line her up. Take her out. Trim her down. We'll try again. Inside frame measurements are hard to get pretty accurate, and I cut this about 3/16 long on purpose, just in case you get crap and debris in there, and sometimes you get that bend. I'd rather it be too long and have to trim it down a hair than aim for the perfect number and it be a hair too short. Clamp her in. Level her out. 1.3, 1.2. We want them matching. Tack it. $37.25. Boy, a real easy number to split in half, huh? 13.5. No, hold on. Golly. 18.5. Right? So 18 5/8. Yeah. What we're kind of looking at now is where we're going to center the ball. Now this is a big old wide plate, but it is not symmetrical, I just realized. So the ball actually centers here, and there's more on this side, so it's going to be offset. So 6 inches, maybe 6 1/16 gets us to the center pin where this ball flips up. Oh yeah, she's a little flip feature. 6 inches. And that is the center of where this bolt is. Just a quick little mock-up where we can kind of eyeball. All right, now we just got to figure out how to get that second piece worked into our goofy box frame. Damn, GM engineers, who thought boxing it like that was a good idea? Come forward to 7, then jump forward 10, or 3 I mean, to a total of 10. Now there's a little gap back in here from where the frame does curve. So I think we go down just a hair, like so. Cut her right at a 1/2 inch wide where we got room for that 3/8 to slip in there. And I think we can just cut a little notch slot like so, and then maybe slide it in from behind. Now, I know I look cool. I almost forgot, we don't want to come all the way forward on this side. So I actually took it a 1/2 inch back, allotting for our gas tank, our diesel tank, our fuel tank, the big plastic thing that holds liquid. This side I did come further forward. We need 15 inches wide. And I know what some of you are thinking, why don't you just mount that up in there? I know. Then we'll have to pull it back out and blah, blah, blah. The tape measure numbers shouldn't lie. And we need 15 over from, I guess, there. Oh, we're gonna hit this too. We may end up hitting our plate. I'm gonna go 14.5. Actually, I'll go over to 15. And we're gonna go ahead and cut off that 1/2 inch off this edge. You're doing all this and pudding. You could have just bought this. You could have just done that. You could have. But Elvis say that he did it his way. Well, call me Elvis, damn it, because I'm doing it my way. Leave me alone. I did it my way. Why'd you cut it with that? You could've used that plasma cutter. Now guys, I use that because I can cut pretty stinking straight. Or if I was to use the plasma, I'd probably butcher it a little more. Now that being said, it's really important this is as straight as could possibly be, considering it's gonna be underneath the flatbed and no one will ever see it. So we should definitely cut it the way that takes the longest, you know? I thought about getting my hacksaw out and doing it by hand. Yeah, some of y'all knew there was no chance in HE double hockey sticks I was going to be able to finagle that in there. I tried. So then I was like, oh man, I should have left that one out. I could have got it. But no, I can't, because once it gets slid up in there where this sticks out on both sides, there's no chance it could have ever slid past that neither. I would still, guys, I'm thinking about cutting out the top of the frame, dropping it down in there, and then welding in the frame, and then we could just cap that whole thing down through there. The only other option is to hang some mounts out past the inside of the frame, something that then we could cut just a piece of angle iron and it would sit on. Back to the drawing board. New plan. Golly, I thought this was going to be quicker than picking it up and carrying it over there, but I don't think so. Never mind, carrying 24 foot just looks intimidating. Fresh battery and a little cutting sauce went a long ways. Mark this a piece 7 1/8. And what I'm thinking is we'll notch out that box where this can slide in there. We can then weld that to the inside of the frame. That being 4 inch is gonna hang out, and that'll allow us somewhere to sit the angle iron down on. It's crazy because all of this is a pain just because we're trying to keep it so low profile, guys. If we were building a bed that didn't maybe even dump, whatever, we may be able to work it around, but our part that's gonna dump has to sit down as low as possible on top of this frame rail where the bed's not too high. It is what it is. It's a lot of extra work, but for it to be exactly how you want it in the end, especially if it's a vehicle you plan on having forever, which this is one of my forevers, I think it's worth it, guys. So now we want to mark over our 7 inches. That's the back of our angle iron. And now we need to make room for something 2 inch wide or square tube in here to go in there. So mark forward about 2 1/8, give us a little wiggle room. And it don't appear there's gonna be much to notch out. A little right there, and we'll have a little bit down here. Use our speed square where I can mark down there. That was our 7 inch mark, so again, we'll come forward 2 1/8. There she is. All right, let's see. Woo, snug like a bug in a rug. Right there's what we're after, except I need to come forward 3/8 of an inch to make up for the thickness of the angle iron. Trimmed our frame out, had to come over here and lop off some material off that. I didn't account for the thickness on the height neither. One of these minutes, anytime soon here, I'm gonna get locked in and pull my head out of my hind end. But until then, we'll keep chipping away. I did accomplish what I wanted to accomplish here. This slides in. The back of this is 3/8 forward of our mark over here. That does hang out a little bit. I don't think it'll look too bad underneath there, you know, because you can see it so well. Next thing we need to do is cut this top plate, because if we're going to set our angle iron here, we can cut this straight right in here, 3 inches up. And then that'll give a nice place for that angle iron to sit on. We'll be able to weld it. It'll have a lot of that weight on this, taking that down to the chassis actually. And I actually planned on using some of our 2.5 square tubing and cutting pieces we're going to insert on these back ones again to help, because all the weight is actually going to be on our welds right now. Where before, if this was actually on top of here, it pushes down on this and the welds hold her in place. Right now the weld's going to be holding all the weight. So if we put something up underneath there, that adds a ton of strength. Just in case I want to haul 42,000 pounds, I'm going to have 10 compressor rigs on the back of my flatbed that'll take her out to the oil field up in West Texas. See the Dodge coming, she actually hauls better than most Peterbilts. Most folks don't know. So I'll be damned if I build a gooseneck hitch that can't haul a load, baby. Another little pro tip for you is to be sure to leave your rubber airbags in there as you do all this cutting. Boop, boop. Cutting our piece about 37 inches should work. Let's clamp this back in. I did cut this down. Stuff's kind of loose fit. Now we got to get her where she needs to be. And I think the thing to do here is mark center. And then I'll clamp this to this, and then we'll kind of fit the other stuff. I'll see if I can get squeezed up in here somewhere to do some welding. I'm going under. If I don't come back out in 10 seconds, grab my feet and pull me. You ain't gotta say it. I know the boots and the shorts are sexy. Think so. Now here's the deal. I could lie to y'all and be like, man, that all fit pretty good. And I'm a decent welder on a gap, so I could weld it all up, show y'all the ones that turned out best and be like, guys, I'm the damn man. But the reality is my fit up was a little sloppy. When I first started welding, I did burn us in a pass right there, kind of weaving back and forth, jumping that gap. There's a lot of room between here and down there, so that's gonna be a multiple pass to fill that up, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just showing it to you. And I'm showing you right there at the end, we got some trash in there, so I want to knock that down. We'll just get that trash out of there so when we make passes, it don't hopefully keep just bubbling up our weld. Well, both sides are burned in. I did not burn in 100% of it. One, the welder needed a break. Each piece has at least 2 or 3 significant welds where it's fine. When this thing's completely done, we're gonna blow it apart. We are gonna have the chassis sandblasted and stuff. So when we make it to that point, it'll be much easier to flip this thing upside down, finish, you know, welding the hard ones to get to right now. I think I'm even gonna wait to cut our 2x6 and put it in there because we may do 2.5. I don't know. I'd like to get it flipped and then figure out how I can kind of clean it up and make that 2x4 look a little better. I think down the road a little, maybe we taper it. Maybe we put another piece and we taper both of them and then we cap it off that bottom edge up to where we cut it. Maybe I'm overthinking it right now about making the bottom side of Hitch look pretty. What I have decided, when that flatbed goes on and this gets done, we're never gonna see that stuff. We will see the top side though whenever we tilt this bed, which probably won't be very often, but hear me out. I know we ain't done no crazy suspension or nothing on the rear of this thing. We did dimple dye some shackles. Woo, got buck nasty on them. I'm gonna go eat a sandwich because it's 1 o'clock somehow, and this is all I've got done so far, even though I've been busy all day. I'm gonna go eat a sandwich, and then when I come back, we're gonna figure out how to pretty this up a little bit. Even better than a sandwich, forgot we had leftover brats. Hoobity hoobity. All right, the main part that's ugly here is everything. Guys, I used angle iron because this works. It is very strong. It does make it very easy to change this if we need to. If we ever tear that up, we'll have 6 bolts, swap it. I am a fabricator who don't believe angle iron looks at home on a chassis. If someone whips one up out of like for a trans crossmember and stuff, it's like, holy crap, Billy Bob. Well, this looks Billy Bob, so let's try to un-Billy Bob the aesthetics. Aesthetically, I don't know, Lee, the ugly part to me is really all this because that was kind of a gap there to weld. So we're gonna start with cleaning that edge up. So here's the plan, Stan. Let's come from that edge over 2 inches. This frame does appear to taper in, so we can't trust that. But what we can do is measure to there and then come over here and do the same thing. We'll mark that. Going for 13 and a 1/16 long. What we're gonna do, my master plan here is to get some 1/4 inch thick, 2 inch wide strap, and we're basically gonna frame a little area. You'll see. Give me a break, I'm kind of making this up as I go. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now our mission, soldier, should we choose to accept it, is gonna be to notch on this piece around our welds till it sits straight with our lines we just drew, because that is pretty close to the same height. And I think we can do some blending over here to make it pretty. So little rough layout here of how much we should cut off or trim out. And because that tapers in, up here is going to be more by a decent little chunk. About like so. Yeah. Ho-ho! Yeah. All right, we're looking fairly respectable. All right, there's got me just a hair. Gotta notch that out some more, so I'll tune this in. All right, I was kind of hoping that would be the same height and we'd fully weld that and smooth it out, but that being butted up don't look bad. I think we can fill that with weld and just kind of flap attack and smooth that area out on each one. She'll look just dandy. Now I think I want to leave a little step, so again, just wait it out with me till I get where we're headed here. We're gonna go back a 1/2 inch and from the edge over 5/8, and then I'm gonna connect the dots. We're gonna cut that off. Do the same to the front side. Yep. Sorry, I was checking to see if I needed to change my drawers because I totally forgot we cut a 1/2 inch or so off the front of that. And I just tried laying that piece over there to see how close it was, and that was so much shorter. And I was like, what the hell? Dummy, I forgot. Now that being said, I'm gonna try to use doing what we're doing to make this look symmetrical as much as we can. In fact, we may just finish cutting that lip all the way off. Well, I'm just saying, it's an idea. Yeah, continue with my plan. Because this is offset, so it ain't gonna be perfectly symmetrical no matter what. We need to actually come back another 1/2 inch. So when we put our piece up here, it matches over there. So I'll just cut from there to there. Make it very nice. Our next piece is gonna be how we kind of make this a little more symmetrical, because there to the outside we've got 15 inches. Well, because it's offset, the other side's 13 inches. So I was planning on putting a 2-inch piece here, which means we need a 4-inch piece here. And then when we put one of these over there, the little pieces that go in between will end up the same length. My math's good. Looks like we need a piece 11 1/4. Maybe my luck for the day is about to turn around. This is the only 4-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick I've got on the whole piece of property. Oh, dummy. I need to cut this shorter. We should have cut our 2 pieces going long ways first, and then that'll fill in between these. That way we keep a nice clean edge down the front and back side. Oh yeah, you want to keep your back side looking nice and clean with a nice edge. You don't want a dirty back side with a nasty edge. People may think you're, well, never mind. Let's cut some 2-inch. If you want to get really good at metal fab, you can kind of do like I do. Take a tape measure out to leave over here at the saw, and then you can leave one over there. That way you don't carry it back and forth. And then after about 1 or 2 cuts, you'll have everything in one spot like me. When you fabricate like that, you know you're doing it right. Now I plan to use something smaller than the 2-inch, but that's what we got, so it's what we're gonna run. I cut our piece of 4-inch down, additional 4 inches, because 2-inch plus 2 inches 4. Little bevel on those edges. All right, we're gonna square everything up. Pot County Speed Square. Let's get her squared up and locked in. Just think of like pieces of a puzzle, guys. With every clamp I own and a magnet, we can kind of lay our pieces into place, and you see what's happening now. And you see if we had something thinner here, then we'd have more lip here and there, but that's okay. I don't know why we would need a lip, like to maybe dimple die a little sheet metal panel and insert it there. I don't know. I cannot foresee the future. I am not Miss Cleo. If we wanted to do that, we can still add a little piece of metal underneath there for it to sit on and be able to clamp to or something. Tack on our ends, and then where I beveled that, I'm just gonna lay a hot weld in there. Hot weld coming right up. All right, yes sir. All right now. I'm happy because this is already looking better than what we had. With that butted up there, I told y'all we may build that up and smooth it out. I'm fine with that. A little black paint on that. Those are a couple good looking welds. That one back there, good looking weld. Obviously these ones we're gonna buzz down flat, try to make them disappear. I do think we're gonna go down through here and add some weld to weld this to this now. This is aesthetic, but I mean, it's 1/4 inch on 3/8. There ain't no way it don't make it even stronger, I guess. Now I know the BS-ery around here gets deep sometimes, and I give you a bunch of fake pro tips, but let me give you a real one. Measure out your welds if you care about how it looks aesthetically. So I'm gonna weld from this corner and then go from this point over 1.5 inches. So that whole thing will be weld. Then from this corner, or this edge, we're gonna come over. We'll weld the 1.5 inches. Between it is 7.5. So divide that and we'll get 3. 3/4. Then we need to go 3/4 of an inch that way and 3/4 of an inch this way for 1.5 inches right in the middle. Now, I can't see those marks, so I do quick little tiny tacks. Oh yeah. We are starting to look a lot less Bubba Ray Jr. Hitch with that. I told y'all spacing them out just makes it look really good. Up next, let me knock down these welds and maybe we'll get her even looking prettier. Another actual pro tip. Look at me trying to be helpful today. Get you a new flapper for this. If it's something aesthetic that you want to look good, you don't want to gouge it up, get you a new flapper, take your time. We're not even going to try to get down into it. We're going to finish it up with a roll lock. Slow and steady wins the race here, folks. That's a thick mama too. That's a thin one, and I use it when I got to gouge in the corners and stuff like that. I'd rather tear up the thinner, cheaper ones. They say variety's the spice of life or something like that. I've got some variety for you. You can have something slammed with dimple dies on it or slammed with dimple dies on it. Switch, better position. See, we get her close, but we don't want to start gouging all that flat metal. We used flat stuff on purpose. Watch this. What'd I take there? Maybe 20 seconds, guys. And that sends that out nice and flat. We don't gouge it all up. And that just looks awesome. She's looking good. To hell with it. Y'all talked me into it. Let's bring it home with the DA. Aha! DA revealed something. Piece of slag. Piece of slag, slag, slag. That's right. We'll just put this right on it, straight down. It's gone. No more DA work, guys, and look how much better that looks. Even if we didn't set something in where that square goes, just the effort on it makes it look so much better than angle iron. You could leave that totally open, no problem. Now, usually to do some type of elaborate something, you may need like a CNC plasma to cut out some 1/4 inch plate. But I'm trying to show you guys why I keep so much just flat strap, 2 inch, 4 inch, 3 inch. If you're creative, you can do some really cool stuff. And that really, I mean, it's some work, but it wasn't nothing too over the top. But yet, she just looks amazing. Sometimes you just gotta use a little imagination. When you pull off that imagination, you may feel a little bubbly sensation. Pretty happy with that. I was disappointed with how it looked when I stopped earlier with the angle iron, but how that's looking right now, I feel like I got my mojo. I got my mojo back, all right? He's back, baby. He's back. All right, basically repeat on this side, except we use 2 inch instead of 4 inch for that offset. And now when you look, it looks symmetrical because those two open areas are the same size. But aha! The great Houdini tricked you because it's not. But that offset, it just it creates some balance, guys, and it looks awesome. No need to grind any of that down like I was thinking I may have to. Those look plenty good for some black paint. Cut some little straps. I'm gonna put one of these underneath each edge there and weld it on from the bottom. Then we've got that edge there. Then we'll have an area to drop a panel on. Weld it in. Time for some sheet metal. Now, I'm not a sheet metal guy. 7 1/4 by 6 1/2. Something a little more rectangular would be probably better for the dimple dies, but it's okay. We'll make her work. Yeah. I think right here we got a perfect corner, and I'm gonna cheat, and we're gonna use this. We may rob that one too. Whew. no sweat. I need surgery-like precision. I am going to round the corners, but a very, very small amount. Well, I laid us out a little pattern. Nothing crazy, real simple. 1.25 inches and 1 inch. Same size as we used on our shackle, so that'll kind of create sun flow. Two hole. Three hole. Took her for a quick ride on the DA. Now I know some of you are gonna be like, man, I wish I had some dimple dies. Guys, I looked them up earlier. Set on eBay, like a set of 6 was like $189 now or something. Pretty affordable. And I'm not saying a couple $100 ain't like ridiculous, but back when I was in the Air Force and really wanted to build cool stuff and had to have dimple dies, my set of 8 I bought back in the day cost me $800 something because they weren't as popular. Close to probably 900 plus with shipping and crap back then. I can't quite remember. So if you think about it like that, all of a sudden $189 for a set of 6 ain't terrible. Obviously a bunch of different ways we can do this. People will ask, why don't you use the press? By the time I move the torch cart and drag air over there, well, doing it right here on this, we're already done. Pretty simple little thing here. I don't love the shape of this being square. I wish it was more rectangle where we could draw some out. I'll have to bend on this and flatten her out just a little bit. She's kind of woohoo. That's what she needed. Let's see if I like it over here. Nope, a little lip. Boop. All right, that looks a little cooler. Yeah, step back and see the dimple die shackle. Uh-oh, someone's been taking a nap over in the air conditioning. And
I was like, I was hot, so I wasn't sure.
Dang woman, censor it, Chris. Beep, beep, beep. Well, dang it. I made us another one and dropped it in there. I'm just sitting that heavy piece of metal. I was gonna make these removable, maybe like glue some magnets to the bottom, but I don't know why we'd ever need to remove them. So I'm just sitting that there and tacking it. I said dang it, because I gave her a little too much heat right there. All right, well, I cleaned up what I could. Pretty happy with how this is looking. No part of me planned on doing all this today. My plan was really to just do the angle iron across there purely for function, and I just ain't got it in me. Like I said, not on a lifer. So I'm curious, what do y'all think about how she's looking here? Now I saved the funnest part towards the end of the day here, drilling a bunch of holes. You may notice I'd flip that ball down. What y'all didn't know is I'm a dang genius. I was playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Because what y'all didn't realize was that's a nice built-in bump stop. The airbags better do their job, or that hitting that probably wouldn't feel too good. And I do think it can stow away at an angle too for more clearance. Damn, that looks cool. Here we go, there's one hole. Do about 5 more. We'll go get 5/16 bolts to bolt that down, it'll be fine. I wish. Let's see what size we gotta go out to. Big. That's big. We did that first one pretty good. Let's see if that old Harbor Freight Special's got 5 more in her. Exact fit right there. We like that. Now, I'm still doing a flatbed, a tilt bed, a blah, blah, blah. Doing it this way, if for some reason that's too low and we need to elevate it, because there's obviously going to have to be some type of trap door in the bed floor. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. If we had to get longer carriage bolts, we could build a spacer between this and pick this up. As long as the spacer is the exact same size as that plate, it's always going to still look good. Told you I was playing chess. Them drill bits absolutely killed it. As you see, it's pretty nice. It actually has a built-in self-release feature right there at the very end. It just drops out of there. I love the fact we did all this still not knowing 100% that our fuel tank's gonna go back in. But that's fine. Sometimes you gotta live a little dangerous. Gotta clean up our cutting fluid. Can't have her looking sloppy. Woo! That's sexy. Now it comes with the little U-bolts for safety chains and blah, blah, blah. We're obviously not worried about that right now. That right there with bolts just down into place is exactly what I wanted to see. I don't toot my own horn, but boy howdy, that looks pretty slick willy. Still not the bottom, but like I said, I just showed you we can put lipstick on the top and make it look great. At whatever point I flip this frame over, I'm gonna box in that tubing, add the tubing at the back, and it'll look good. We've come too far to let it look bad at this point. Boom! My wife asked if I could be done at 5:30 today. How's 5:29, baby? A minute ahead, just for you. I don't know why I said that. She don't watch my videos. In fact, she come in here a minute ago and I was like, hey, you see this hitch I'm building? She was like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, showing her the dimple dyes panels. I was adding that second one. She's like, well, what are they for? I'm like, just because they look cool. She's like, oh, they don't actually do nothing? And I'm like, they look cool. And she's like, so you spend all day working on something that don't even need? And I was like, go away. Just playing. Damn, join my haters down in the comment section, lady. All right, guys, we'll be back on her in the morning. So much dang dirt in this frame, I had to get my desert tan camo on. Good morning. Sir, target locked on, permission to fire. Spend a quick 15 minutes, put the majority of our tools up. Metal, I know we're not gonna be using moving forward. Quick little blow of the floor, guys. 15 minutes, you'll save that time throughout the day now, not looking for all them tools we had everywhere. Stop, drop, shut it down, clean your shop. Ho, ho, Puddin said so. Ooh, we got a remix coming or what? Guys, I'm happy with where we're at on that. I think we're gonna start looking at our hinge point because this flatbed's gonna tilt. And for that, the further forward the hinge point, the better. So we've got our hangers right here. We've got a cross member right here. Basically any of this hanging out is just additional. So I think I'm gonna maybe cut this towards our hanger. And then of course we'll need to put like a cross member or plate that in or something. Numbers. We're fabricating, so what matters is numbers. 7.5 inside to inside. And of course, all I've got is 6-inch. Coming a 1/2 inch forward of this lip, and that's where we're gonna cut it. I love the smell of fresh cut frame in the morning. And take just a little smoochy kiss off the head of each rivet. I don't have enough 6x6. I didn't account for any for back here, and that helps gets us in there, but we're still gonna have to do a little notch to get up past one of those rivets. Perfect, that's what she needed. That gets us in there anyhow. And that rivet, oh, that's in a good spot. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Because you see, I can only shove that so far back, and so far back allows about a 1/4 inch. And I think we're gonna end up putting like a boxing plate here on the back. So that should let that sit in there good. Yep. All right, I'll get her mocked up. 28 and 13/16. 28 and 13/16. She's pretty square right there. Bubble that nasty wax paint, no good having, can't hardly grind it off, black crap off there. Y'all know me, I'm not commitment shy, so I'm locking in here. Trying to keep the welds pretty small in between the gaps because we are going to plate that like I said. Shoot doggy, burn her in. Next up, we're going to plate it up. I cut us a piece of 3-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick to length. Rounded our 2 corners where that can start to work in there. And then I just kind of marked where our weld is because that edge gets in there and hits that weld. Nothing a little flap attack won't fix. Oh, that's what she needed. See, she sits in there pretty good. We are going to have to shift it over where we got a place for the weld to go. And that looks all right, except it looks like what it is. Piece of flat strap shoved up on the back. One angle cut's gonna fix that and totally change how this thing looks. So I'm gonna space it over where I want it, and then I'm gonna mark where that edge is, and I'm gonna mark up here at the bottom of our cross member. Once we connect that line and cut that off, it's gonna look way more purposeful. Oh, you thought we were done there, huh? I took my squared us across where that taper ends. We didn't really do anything trick on the suspension, like I said. So I'm gonna just give it to you here on this. 3-inch, so we're gonna mark center at 1.5 inches. And then we'll come down here and we'll figure this out. 2 1/8, so we'll go 1 1/16. Connect that line, and then we need to measure that overall length. 3 3/8. So we'll mark down center at 1 11/16, right? Yeah, right there center. I said purposeful. Maybe I meant more intentional. It looks like it's intended to be there. That regular old 4x4 cross member looks a whole lot better now. Getting a little flow going back here, ain't we? He's flowing, he's going, he's flowing, he's going. Well, there she is. I've seen a lot of you who think for some reason I need to come out here and shorten this. Y'all want this little stubby lubby truck that looks something like this. Yeah. I don't know. I love the fact this thing's long. In fact, when I first went to build it, if it wasn't long enough, I was gonna cut it and stretch it. So you're lucky this thing ain't even longer. That's the only frame cut she gets. I picked up some of these 1-inch by 7.5. I was hoping they were gonna have 8.5. 7.5 is what we got. I've used these to build the old pivot points on our Toyota tilt dump bed, whatever. That's a 1-inch OD. I was using pieces of this right here, and I think I'm gonna have just enough scrap all the little odds and ends of that's 1.5 DOM, 1/4 inch thick wall. Between all these scraps, we'll have enough to build our hinges. 7.5. So we're gonna make it a double shear with the pivot point in the middle. So we need 3 pieces per 2 3/8. By 7.5, I mean, that's literally to the pin on the pin. I think I'm gonna try to cut away some of this, and then we'll need to cut up 3 equal chunks to be able to slide on here. I freed up a little room. This thick black paint makes that well over 1 inch. We're able to go 2 9/16. I may have a little trick up my sleeve that's missing. Now, because we got such small little pieces, having to get creative here. Right now we're just a production team. Purdy. All right, I'll have to get more proper hardware to cap that in, but instead of leaving that pin in there and losing some of our pin, I drilled and tapped that for 1/4 20. Now mind you, this is gonna get welded, this is gonna get welded, so this don't retain all of this from moving. This just retains the pin from ever being able to back itself out. There you have it, guys. We've got a big old hinge. Theo woke up from his nap because we're at the point where we gotta do some thinking and we need someone with some brains. These rivets stick up pretty good chunk, probably about 3/8, maybe 7/16 of an inch. And I was looking with our crossmember and our crossmember. I'm like, boy, we could throw some weld right there and just knock those down, no big deal. I guess I should have explained. It's time to kind of look at where to position our hinges. And to do the tilt bed, we are going to build our main frame, the part that actually pivots, out of this 1/4 inch thick 2x4. And when it is all the way down, I want this contacted to the frame as much as possible. So that's why I was getting rid of them. Now, curveball. We do that, sure. But then I looked up here and where they overlap and this kind of steps up. So if we get rid of those rivets, that's still gonna run uphill and not sit on all the frame. If we had take a little bit off the top of those rivets, that would sit pretty level up into this point here. I would like a little more contact besides the 2x4 just sitting on some rivets. So let's go out to the scrap, see what we got. Oh, something about like that right there will probably work. We may be able to cut like strips of this and then weld it on top of the frame to create a little pad for the pivoting frame to sit on. Sound good to you? Yeah, that stuff's too thick. We probably need 3/8. I don't think I have any. Got great news. I dug through all my scrap and found what chunks of 3/8 I do have, and it was still too big. Go down to 1/4 inch and got that sitting on 1/4 inch, and it comes up here and sits on that just perfect. I've got plenty of this stuff, so we'll grind the heads of that down to be the same height as our 1/4 inch here. All right, what that's gonna allow me to do now is take this piece of the 2x4, set it there, knowing that's our height, and I'm gonna pull up the old thinking chair and just kind of figure out what am I doing here. So what we're doing right now is probably the most important part of this, in the sense that if we get this right, everything looks good, and if we get it wrong, everything's not gonna look good. Minor details, right? So here's what we're gonna do. For ease of building the hinges, we are gonna move in That'll make plating the two outside ones a lot easier instead of hanging it plumb out here. We do have a couple things to worry about, and I'll have to check this. We do still have to be able to clear this. Hold on. Maybe not. So we are going to have runners. That's going to be our 2.5. That 2.5 is going to end up matching the bottom of our 2x4 flush, allowing 1.5 inches for wood plank on top. So we don't necessarily have to clear that. We just can't put a 2.5 inch runner right here, or that'll hold us up. So what we've got going so far is good. We'll probably come up like that, about 1/4 inch back there. And that should put this pretty well to the flush with that. Then I got the checking up here, 1.3, 1.4. So I shimmed on this until we have that matching close, 1.4. That'll be our goal to try to hit. And what that's gonna do is when our bed's on there and actually finished, the outside of that frame, or the bed as a whole, is gonna run at that angle, which is gonna be on the same plane as all of our major lines over here. So the top of our door, the roof line, the bottom of our door, that rocker. We don't want those at different angles, or it's gonna, your eye will gravitate towards that and go, damn, pudding sucks. I told you, didn't I? About 1.5 minutes ago, I said Nate Dogg's coming. Yeah. Heard that weed whacker before you made it to Love's. Hoping old Slick Fitty gets set up to cut here. He's got some motor mounting action going.
Yeah, good old hearse mount.
I'm not jealous of having to clean up all those edges.
I'm used to it. This will be the second one. Or third one.
You need to learn how to use some flat strap to your benefit.
I know.
It's just angled.
It's all box.
I got some 3/8 angle iron if you need some real motor mounts. All right, when I got old Slick Fitty here and have a hand at handling some of this long metal, none of this was planned, I'm just taking advantage of the situation. I'm gonna have old Slick help me cut some of these to length. So he's going up to the cab. We know we're gonna lot for a 2-inch, whatever, gap up there. So I put our level back there to 13 inches, 13 foot. It's gonna have a 13-inch bed. It would look like that Photoshop from earlier. Our next concern is, how far does that hang back? 56 inches. I think less than 58 and we'll be good for a gooseneck as far as clearance. So that'll work. So as far as our 2x4 goes, we don't need 13 foot. We need to subtract 2 inches for the gap, and then 2 inches for the front of the frame and 2 inches for the rear of the frame. So 12.6.
Whoever invented that saw, he pay them more.
Whoever invented that thing, I'd kiss right on the mouth. All right, guys, I cut up some 2.5 inch. I don't want to take up no more Slick's time recording than what I had to. So we're going to be back to kind of figuring out our hinges. I did kind of figure out the width, kind of where I'm ballpark aiming for here. Slick had brought me this over. I'm having to kind of sand it down just a little bit, but this way we can get all of our pieces on one straight piece, trying to prevent them hinges from binding. So I'm gonna slice this down and clean that up where we can get our other 3 on. All right, now we got one big hinge. I did mark out where our metal kind of needs to land just to be able to center us up. And the plan here is to weld this one and this one, or 2 outside ones, to this cross member. So we need to get some type of spacer from there to create some distance, so this one don't also rub that cross member. Like this. Drop that in there, set our piece over here. Need to turn our greaser up some more, but that's fine. Just creates a standoff. We ain't really got a great way to mock this up, so I'm gonna kind of hold it and eyeball it and just tack it. All right, this one's a little too high. Much better. Set our inside one. Now we want a little bit of play between here, and I'm pretty well just eyeballing that. Just where there's a little slack like so. Slap the 1001 tacks on here. We really don't want those pieces moving as we weld them up. I think we'll do 1 pass, 2 pass, possibly 3. She's working. Top side got 2 passes. Bottom side was good with 3. Those still spin. That's a good sign. Very hot. That's moving. Also a pretty good sign we ain't really walked off any. Now to get that out of there, after it cools, and I think we're gonna plate those, we'll just have to cut them and drive them out. Now welding that like that is not enough. We're gonna figure this out, a little template here. Little arts and crafts session. 3/8 plate. Cutting her with the combo kit, using the cutoff wheel on our edges that'll be out so they're nice and clean. Then the old plasma torch to the size that'll get welded. Little pro tip, if you want to burn your ankles up, wear shorts and boots so when you're cutting with that plasma, it has a really nice area to catch it. If you use your noggin, here's the smart way to do this. Use that clean edge for that. Cut that little flat top with the cutoff wheel and then just buzz the rest of that out. Well, some decisions have been made, and I don't love how it looks. The fit-up's just a little too big for them welds to really look good. And I honestly wish I kind of would have left it like that. But it is what it is. Boxing those makes it nice and strong. I guess with a little black paint underneath the flatbed, it's gonna look fine. Just cut us some of this that needs to go there. And then we drop one of those on top and cap it. Like I said, not the prettiest thing, the way that works out, but it is what it is. Don't look bad from here, does it? Don't look bad when I blow your doors off going a $1.20 down the interstate neither. Those ugly things are done, they are done. As you can notice, we did cover up where our grease zerk goes. I'm aware. What I wasn't aware of or thinking was, I just plan to come over here and drill and tap that. But it's okay, I don't see why we can't just go on the top. All right, so if this is picked up, all this weight's on this, kind of pushing down. Honestly, that's probably fine what we got right now. However, I've got a very bad habit of not leaving good enough as good enough. If we cut some 1/4-inch plate and tied it like that, we could weld it there, 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 all down there. And that would stabilize it. I don't know how much more it needs stabilized, but it would stabilize it. She's fit up. I didn't really think this out much because now I'm gonna have to basically wrap from up here. I'm gonna have to wrap a lot on this. But even without that there's only enough room up there for a weld. There's still room for that, so we're gonna run with it. No regrets. Get my sweat rag back on. Did some running around this morning. Yesterday we ran out of wire. I had some on hand, so we got going. I noticed my gas was just about out, so as you can see, gas is gone. I've got some out there, I just need to grab it. Got us restocked on supplies, baby. We're ready to keep moving forward. To move forward, these, everything's nice and cool now. That's nice. I've been able to touch it. Those still spin really good. I think we're gonna cut and then try to drive those out. Well, our pin goes in, and that's a good sign. I did have to grind a little flat spot there. So these are gonna be for our mock-up. To actually pin that, I'm gonna get with my buddy who's a machinist and has a lathe, and I'll get some solid round stock, and we'll turn it down to exactly what we need, I think. Or we may keep these, who knows? The mystery builds. Hey, Zoomies, calm down, Wreck-It Ralph. Go, Theo, go! Fast and the Furious, Pot County Drift. Go, Theo! Come on. Theo. I think he parked it for a nap. Real precise stuff here. I'm gonna start to try to figure out our second piece of our hinge. Guys, obviously, this is taking a while. It's all we got done yesterday. You kind of see what we're doing here, so I'm gonna try to get through this one a little quicker today. A little brainstorming, and here's what we've got. The way this is built, our level sitting right on that. We allow room for 1/4 inch right there. We are hitting our angle we need to hit. So what I'm thinking is we're gonna take some 3-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick. We'll cut a little off each side up here, and then it'll widen out to the 3-inch. And that'll run flat with that. We may do it 10 inches. Hell, we might go 24. We'll go long enough, and then we'll bring something about like so to be able to gusset it. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna flatten out to just a nice flat area. And being 3 inches wide, we can then set our 2x4 on top of that. And that's gonna allow a 1/2 inch on each side to then be able to weld it. That'll also let us finish building our hinge where we're not trying to complete a hinge and square up a frame all at once. Think about it. Thirteen. Those are square. Whoop. Whoop. All right. Take our gusset right there through the range of the motion. You can see I had to angle that where it don't hit down there and stop us. That lets it get all the way to right there. That's way more angle than we're gonna need. Go ahead and give that the 3-pass special. Yeah. You ain't gotta have a fancy plasma. You can notch that out just with a cutoff wheel. Nya, 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 nya. That's all you gotta do is the nya, 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 nya. Coming in 3/4 inch from the edge. Of course, the first one we can fully weld. The second one, we're only gonna be able to weld the outside. I was able to weld a little bit at both ends, but that's one consistent weld right there. Whoop, whoo. I'm gonna plate these up as well and box that in. Once I get that welded, we're gonna run some rebar in there. We're gonna reinforce it with some concrete. And once that concrete sets it, I'm gonna take some of the 1/2 inch plate. I think we'll wrap this whole thing in 1/2 inch. Maybe, just maybe then it'll be strong enough. Had to close her down and quit losing our gas because of the breeze. But she's full welded up, got both sides done. Give them about 4 hours, they'll cool off. Oh, y'all thought I forgot to put a hole up here to match down here? I did not. Beautiful fit. 53 degrees. We're looking for about 20. Overachiever. All right, guys, that's our hinge setup. Cross members all tied in, and that is pretty heavy duty stuff, I'd say. Added our grease zerts. Now that I know, I should have waited till the end because trying to clock that and figure out where we're gonna guess at stuff and all that is kind of hard. With these like this, we'll be able to grease them. And then those ones, I just put a straight in right there. 1.5 days. That's what it took just to build that little bit, guys. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But the real stuff behind this is that's a lot of freaking work. I mean, that was nonstop staying hooked up. Yeah, I added some radius and some holes to spruce her up here, but that's what makes her look nice, okay? But I ain't gonna lie to you neither. Damn, am I happy that's done. All right, we're gonna start moving forward. Had to pick up and eat a hot dog, but I'm hoping we can at least get a basic structure on here. I'll get this here. We're aiming to sit here. And I'm sure things will just fall right into place. They'll probably just fall. Yeah, right. Woo-hoo-hoo. There's the whole dance. Oh, careful. Where's the finesse? Whew. We want a 2-inch gap, a 2-inch header. So we need to find something 4 inches we can attach at the front of that, and then we can just bump her up to the cab. And maybe, just maybe, our stubby wubby will be short enough we can use it too. Because if this works, oh yeah, 1.1. Gotta take it all the way down. Scooter back 1.3, that's what we're looking for. Took a piece of scrap, measured 4 inches. That'll be our filler gauge. Woo! That sure is nice, huh? Very purposeful. Clamped, 1.4. 1.4, I think. Up here is 1 degree, and back here's the 1.3-ish. This may be holding us just a hair too high. .3. All right, she needs a jack stand with a 2x4 with a piece of 1/4 inch. Now that's 1.3, but back in here is actually like 1.5. But it is touching that, which that was designed to lay flat, touching that with the shims I got there. So we may want to drop that down and get this back to the 1.4. And I think as we add supports down through there, we'll get her equaled out. Let's not act like a 0.1 degrees gonna make or break our flatbed anyhow. Aha! The funky numbers were coming because I had this clamped so tight. There's actually a gap up here, but not back here. So I let that relax, so all this now is touching. Up here, I shimmed using our worn out cutoff wheels right till that touches. So we know right in there we probably need to shim about 5/16, maybe 3/8. And now, all the way down through here, we're maintaining the 1.4. Perfect. Now we just gotta replicate it on the other side. Boy, let's not leave that flat tire laying on the ground. If the goal's to match, then we should put the same thing on both sides, right? Right. Yeah, oh, that's heavy, like a chick named Betty Spaghetti. Golly. I do apologize if your name's Betty and you like spaghetti. Sometimes I just say stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, it sure is laying up here nice and flat like it's the exact same. Oh yeah. All right, that's not touching. So more than likely we're higher down here, and that's probably our wood and our nice uneven concrete floor. So we'll just try different shim amounts until we get it how we need it at the 1.4. Right now she's at the 1.7. Now, I just thought of something. That right there has us reading 1.4. However, our gap up there is slightly bigger. So we actually need to level our frame from side to side, getting all kinds of stuff. I've seen 0.3 to damn 0.8. Everything indicates this side needs to come up just a hair though. In all honesty, everything probably would have been just fine. But guys, this is not the time to get lazy now. What I'm saying is I could have said, oh yeah, everything's perfect, and we could have welded it up. And by the time everything's metaled and wooded, you wouldn't know any different looking through a camera. However, if we get this frame right, the rest of the bed builds off of this, so we get this right, and in theory, the rest should be pretty smooth sailing, other than handling big pieces of 2x6 by myself. Now we're up a hair too high. 0.1, 0, 0.1, 0.1. We're a lot closer to level right there. Reading 0.4 down through there. 1.4, I know. Got our 2B4 with just a little poster board shim. Now, here's the real question. If we take our level and go across this, what are we reading? If I was a damn carpenter, I'd nail that. Oh, I'm using that on my wife later. I'm coming in wearing these boots with my carpenter hammer. I'm gonna carry my nail gun in the house later. Be waiting with the pancake compressor. If I was a carpenter, I'd nail that. Poof! Shoot one through the sheetrock. All right, we're getting distracted. That was not very appropriate, and I do apologize. Damn. Guys, when you're good, you're good. I mean, it just is what it is. No, that's why it's important to actually level out the frame and build off of that, because you get that right and everything else should follow. Up front, how's that? All right, if you look close, I actually swapped our poster board from this side to that side because we were sitting on level. It was at 0.3. So I doubled it, put it over there. That one's running down at 1.3 now. This one's running at 1.4, and we're sitting level down throughout it. I think level's more important because if you're behind this thing and the bed's unlevel, you'll know it. As far as one rail being 0.1 degrees more downhill, you'll never notice that, guys. Here's a pro tip about car building. You can't see both sides at the same time. Take that information and do with it what you want. Next, we got to square her up. 24.5 is the number. Now back here I can eyeball based off our hinges, and we should be pretty close. And we are. And up here I just kind of spread on them till we're right at the 24.5. But that don't mean they're square. So to help me get an idea on that, I'm gonna come up here to the very front of this frame and measure over there 7 inches on the dot. If I'm being honest, we can't really trust this because those frames could be wrapped a little bit, one this way or one that way. 7 5/8. So that would mean both of them would need to shift over this way 3/8. Something's off. I've got 24.5 back there. My measurements back there are matching. Measurements off the frame to right there is matching. But up here, something's off. She may just slowly be favoring one way, and then over 13 foot, that turns into a lot. Check the frame, and they are wrapped using the level, so we can't trust that. What I did was measure from the center of this hole to the outside of the tubing on both sides, and did the math on what they would need to be. And they would both need to be 9 7/16 to the center of the hole, which should be about right there. Nope, 24 3/8. This tubing may be rolled some too. I'll get her. I got her all within a 1/16, guys. I can't get it absolutely perfect. I'm assuming there's a little slight bow in one of these rails. So I want to get a cross member in the back with it perfect, and we'll just kind of, she's good. (11/16) and 11/16. I've been measuring off of here to the outside. Got both measuring at 6 and 13/16. Our gap's good up there. Tack it. Tight fit. Just like we like it. Baha, I'm backtracking Bobby. Down there I gave us more room, so when we put that header on there, we got room to weld. Back here I was so close that when we put the 2x6 there, it would have been very hard to weld that. As in, we could not have welded that. Billy.
What's up?
Bill showed up, gave the hinges the approval. So I've got everything, again, squared up, looking good, clamped in place. I do gotta clean this up before we tack these. We're clamped up and squared up. I wanna get these tacked. We're not gonna weld a lot of it, but we at least gotta get it tacked, and then our basic frame here is gonna be in place. There she is, guys. All right, really, we should figure out a way to cycle that and make sure everything just moves good, no binding, no surprises. Weren't we just talking about muscle and eating vegetables and getting stronger?
It's coming.
New workout, 15 bed lifts. Get out there and stroke it. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Get some. Oh, there he goes.
Let's get it. Theo's coming.
Yeah,
What the hell's going on?
What's going on in there?
I'm gonna have y'all watch the hinges. I've got our angle finder set up for Bill. And I'll be the hydraulic ram. Yeah!
12.8.
That ain't enough.
It ain't?
Hinges felt nice and smooth.
No binding?
No binding. Boy, sure is a tight fit back here.
Uh-oh, we got an error.
Yeah!
Oh, 20.4.
Right there's 20. Hey, go get one of them grain stands if you don't mind. Woo! I'm starting to feel it in the shoulders a little bit. Well, my math ain't mathin', because I know for a fact the cylinders I've got and where I'm planning on putting them, we're not gonna get nowhere close to that. And that's only reading 16 degrees.
Where's you gonna put the cylinder here?
No, down on the outside. Right now though, this baby could be the Evel Knievel mobile ramp truck. Go park her somewhere with a flat surface and let them ramp the canyons. Well, on the flip side of not knowing where I'm gonna put a cylinder, the hinges felt really good. No binding. I was just fighting the weight. That does get a little heavy. But it felt really good, really smooth. We're happy with that. I think our single pin to line it all up did us a good job there. Now, I told you we needed the basic frame and hinges and stuff like that figured out. And guys, we're there. Now, I mean, no matter what, we've got to add some more cross members down through there. But more than anything, now being able to see this, I can go back to my brain and my pencil and my paper, tape measures, anything I have to do to really figure out some of this stuff. Because like I said, I thought we were gonna hit about that much incline with needing far less stroke than what I'm seeing. Uh-oh, Now the cylinders I got are 24-inch, and they got a 20-inch stroke, so we're looking at 44. So I put us a mark there. I put a mark down there on the outside of the frame. And now we need to drop it back down at resting position and measure that and see, is it 24-inch? And I bet it's gonna be a lot less. I think it's gonna be way too close. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's gonna be close. Well, it should be close. I was just telling Bill how I've done enough damn chemistry, physics, trigonometry, geometries, and anything else you can calculate with on this thing. That is about 16 1/4. That don't mean we can't go back more of an angle though, I guess. Boom. Put that sucker right on top of there.
Top of it, huh?
About like that. Marker at our 24. Well, I'm glad Bill showed up. 48 inches. 48 inches, so we're getting ballpark there. In fact, we can use our little stand and drop that down to the 44 till our 44 hits that mark, and then we'll just see where we're at. Maybe I'll just install a couple of them, Bill, every time I need to tilt it.
Get out there and start turning your thing.
You get a side, I'll get a side. Let's crank it. All that just got us to 46 and some change. What? I moved our mark back to here when that was lifted up about how we wanted it, and then measured our 44 down to here. Drop her back down, and we're right at 25 inches. Oh, 25's good. It can't be less than 24. 25's rentable. All right, so as long as we think that angle is fine to start picking up and not bind, it's doable. And that's all I wanted to figure out, guys, was, is that gonna work where I don't lose sleep this weekend trying to figure it out in my head? You been there before?
Hell yeah.
Now, if you've been following this build closely with the flatbed, you know one of my other concerns was it ended up too high. Trucks do not need the top of the flatbed halfway up the cab, guys. That's too high. So with this in position like this, set us a piece of angle iron over there. This is gonna be the top. Our wood floor is gonna be flush with that. So the bottom of that angle iron is basically where the top is gonna be. And of course that's nice and crooked, but still right there is gonna be the top. Oh, that's pretty well perfect, guys. If that's the top, the outside's gonna be 6 inches. So 6 inches below that is gonna be the bottom. Oh, she's gonna look good. That was something else that was very important to me. The sleep is gonna be so good this weekend. Adding some cross members down through there. I've kind of started to overthink it and look at stuff, guys, and if I've taught you anything in the last couple days, you can hop in with an idea, but you really don't know until you get in there and figure it out. Kind of how I figured out the hitch, kind of how I figured out the hinges, and now how we're going to kind of figure this out. My trailer is kind of what we're mimicking, and it goes 2 foot on center. I'm putting one right here because we're going to build some type of box with a trap door for this. So we want to support the wood right up to that. So I split the difference, put one right in the middle. So we'll come right at the front side of that and just do the same thing down through there. Oh yes, the classic triangle hammer. Took some of our 2-inch wide stuff and cut her to length and weld that in there. Now our boards have a place to sit and rest up to. Like this very high quality piece of wood. See what we're going for? So that's what I was saying, this will be exposed, all because I don't want it taller, like I already explained. So that's wood, out here's wood. We got to do something in here, but now, well, with those welded in, I've been sitting here staring at it. I was hoping how I wanted to do that would just come to me and Guys, I think I've burned out all my brain power for this go around, figuring out them hinges and everything. But I'm not mad at it. We've made some solid fabric cobbling progress between our hitch, our hinges, and the start of our frame. So obviously we'll need another go around at this to finish doing runners out, the outside perimeter frame, and I guess we'll just save that. Maybe we can spruce her up a hair, huh? I even asked Theo if he had any ideas, and he said, nope, just wants to nap, no help. Guys, it is Friday, about 6:30 in the evening, and I do believe I'm gonna wrap there and go spend the evening with my girls. And I just want to thank y'all for being here at the Puddins Fabrication Shop. It's called Puddins Fab Shop. Well, you got fab this time, whole lots of it. So I hope you enjoyed. I had fun kind of figuring this stuff out, and I really, really, really like where this is headed. But I'm gonna wrap. I gotta grab my nail gun so I can head in the house. Thank y'all for being here. puddins.fab.shop.com for that good quality merchandise we had released last week. Maybe we still got some. I don't know, because none of that's happened yet in real time. Puddins Fab Shop too, if you want to see some of our behind the scenes action. Always got good stuff going on over there as well. And much other than that, guys, y'all know I'm on the Facebooker, I'm on the Instagrammer, on the Patreon. I have been trying to be a little more active on the Facebook there, so go give that page a follow if you're on the Facebooker, Puddins Fab Shop. If you don't, I'm gonna send Theodore to your house. And he ain't bit an ass in about 48 hours, so he's just itching to get a hold of one. I will see you guys in the next one. However, do not forget, sitting on your ass will not finish your project.